But I can tell you this is not clickbait. I am actually going to be a father really soon. In like 2 weeks I'm going to be a dad. And I am feeling... It's hard to describe how I'm feeling, to be honest. It kind of feels like it's not going to happen. It feels really surreal. This is the hardest and most emotionally confusing video that I've ever had to make. Everyone that watches this video will inevitably have a lot of questions. I'm going to do my best to answer what I can and be honest, and to really grasp the situation I recommend watching this video till the end, or it's really not going to make much sense. Alright, I guess we're back.
I wanted to start off right at the very beginning, his original video where he says he's going to be a father, because that'll give me a good basis as to how he acts, and it'll be a good way to just feel out where he is emotionally when he tells this story. So let's get into it.
Now you're probably thinking, what is going on? Hobbie's clearly not having kids. He hasn't even got a girlfriend nor a wife. But I can tell you this is not clickbait. I am actually going to be a father really soon. In like 2 weeks, I'm going to be a dad.
He reminds me of an excited puppy. You know, anytime that you walk in the same room as a little dog, or any dog really in general, and the dog gets really hyper and they come straight up to you and they start jumping on you, or if they're well behaved, they don't, but they're still really excited to see you. He's on the edge of his seat, and he's got those big doe eyes. He's looking at you with the big smile on his face, and it's not a forced smile. You can kind of see the smile lines around his eyes. So right off the bat, he reads as very excited to tell this story.
And I am feeling... It's hard to describe how I'm feeling, to be honest. It kind of feels like it's not going to happen. It feels really surreal. Even though it's so soon, it just feels like a dream.
So he sits back in his chair, he gets kind of comfy. You can see his eyes glue on one particular spot in his room because he's really focusing more so on how he feels and less about what he's saying. You can see the stress lines form around his eyebrows because he's in deep thought. And I mean, this man can hardly keep himself from smiling. He's that excited. And you can see his entire body sing with him, like his arm in the corner moves whenever he says it's so soon, because his mind and his body are fully synced together.
So the girl is not my girlfriend. We met and got together, and 6 weeks later she told me that she was pregnant with my baby.
He's in emotion the entire time he's talking. He's really going through a visual timeline of whenever he first met this girl to now. One thing that's interesting that I do want to note is that whenever he says we came together, his hands pull apart. So I don't want to go too far as to say he regrets sleeping with that particular person, but the way his body conveyed coming together with that person he's visually picturing was not the most positive of ways you could think of someone. But yeah, just fun fact for you.
So you can imagine the shock, but we decided to keep it, which is a decision that I'm really thankful for and appreciative for, and I can't imagine it any other way now. And I think it's a really brave thing to do, to go with your instinct when the situation is completely different to how you might have expected or wanted it to be. This is the hardest and most emotionally confusing video that I've ever had to make. Everyone that watches this video will inevitably have a lot of questions. I'm going to do my best to answer what I can and be honest, and to really grasp the situation I recommend watching this video till the end, or it's really not going to make much sense. Lots of you would have watched my previous videos where I told you guys very excitedly that I was going to be a dad, and you've been wondering and asking how my twins are and what's happened. And for those of you just joining, I got with someone who later told me she was pregnant. And at first, as you can imagine, I was pretty shocked, and I expressed my opinion that she shouldn't keep it. But ultimately, it was her decision. And then she took a few days to think about it, in which time I told her that if she wanted to keep it, then she should keep it, and I'll support it and be the best father I possibly can. And then she ended up telling me that she wanted an abortion. Then on the day that it was meant to happen, she told me that she couldn't go through with it. And from then on, I thought that I was going to be a father, and I was really excited. I told my closest friends and family, and the weeks went by. I tried to get to know her better because we had actually only met once. I believed that the decision to keep our relationship platonic and friendly was a mutual one, and I was pretty positive that we could raise a happy child and make a partnership of bringing up a kid work.
I gotta be honest with you, this video is already depressing the hell out of me. Now, you guys saw how happy and excited he was at the beginning of this video, and now just look at his eyes, man. Just look at his eyes.
Now, throughout the pregnancy, there was always some kind of reason as to why a scan got cancelled or rescheduled. And what I thought was the 12-week scan, for example, she told me that there was a mix-up of times, and then she went to the doctors and they told her that she should have a scan there and then. And obviously I just believed it. And that's when she told me that it was twins. My priority throughout the whole thing was just to maintain a healthy relationship with her. And I kind of got by knowing that when the children were here, there would be no doubt that I would have a big part in their lives. And a similar thing happened for the next supposed scan, when we were meant to find out the genders, which was meant to be like the 18-week scan or something. And she told me a date, and then it got rescheduled. And then on that day, she went completely AWOL. I was waiting at Gloucester Road station for like 3 hours because she hadn't actually told me the exact location. And then she called me that night telling me that she had had a breakdown and she couldn't do it, which obviously I sympathised with. But I did see her a couple weeks later when we went baby shopping, and her stomach had grown quite a lot. She actually had a bump now. She seemed okay, a bit kind of awkward or whatever, but I thought she had been through a lot and I didn't really think anything of it.
I did go ahead and let this play. I cut out a couple of parts, so if you want to see the full video, it'll be linked in my description box below, along with disclaimers on body language. You know the drill. And I know you guys have been waiting for me to talk about this video, but I really feel like there's not much to say about it because it's obvious that he's telling the truth. His body movements aren't anything out of the ordinary, and I gotta say, I feel really, really, really bad for Hobbie.
So on the 2nd of January, I went to Chelsea and Westminster Hospital because I was led to believe that my twins were due to be born that day by means of a C-section. I spoke to her the night before and she said that she's moving into her private room in the morning and she would let me know when she does that. And then I woke up on the morning and there was no message from her. I messaged her, didn't go through, called her, straight to answer machine, and her phone was just off. So I just went to the hospital and just kind of sat in the waiting area waiting for some contact that never came. I went to the maternity reception and they said they have no record of her and she wasn't there. And I went to the private wing and they said the same thing. Obviously I was just really confused, and the hours went by of me just waiting there thinking that she was going to get in contact. I called a couple of other nearby hospitals and they said the same thing. At this point, what I thought was happening was that she didn't want me at the birth, and I couldn't get my head around why she would have changed her mind about that when she knew how important it was to me. I was always supposed to be there, and she had told me 2 days before that she wanted me there.
And you see a big swallow because there's a lot of information that's being processed. It all makes him uncomfortable and emotional. It's a pretty normal break in the brain for anyone who's just gone through a situation like this. So this is where I'm going to end my video. It's all I have for today. And just to quickly summarize his video, after he couldn't find his baby mama, he had to contact the police and file a missing persons report. The police found her safe and sound, but she wasn't pregnant. And Hobbie's video obviously goes way more into detail than mine will, but basically Hobbie's baby mama was not a baby mama at all. She had been lying about multiple aspects of her life, stringing Hobbie along for months and months and months. Hobbie went on to find out that not only had this woman lied to him about having his twins, but she had also lied about her father's death, had sent Hobbie fake ultrasound pictures, and continued to this day to use someone else's baby pictures to post on her personal Facebook as her own. I 100% believe that this man is telling the truth, and I feel incredibly bad for him. But again, that's all I have for today's video, so I'll see you guys on the next one.